Welcome back, my friends, to the Deadfire and to the Sacred Stair. Today we're gonna go into the Spire of the Soulseers, and then we have time. We go to the Temple of Berath and talk it out with the one who sent us back here. Now let's talk a little bit with this man. I think he's a temple merchant.
Fancy a look at this stock? Straight from the laboratory.
From the laboratory? What is it? The Ring of Overseeing. Always useful. And an Animancy Cat. 2 Metaphysics, 1 Arcana. Bonus to Might and Penetration for the things we summon. Nah, we don't summon anything. It's interesting to see what you have, but we're not going to buy into it. We'll rather go to the Spire of the Soul Seers. Is that the Animancers? I believe so. Do they have a laboratory? Apparently. Is there something we can get from this? Probably, yeah. What do we have here? The wiring is a mess. I work with amateurs. This ledger contains a meticulously logged list of names, dates, and measurements. And in here, we have Animancy in the modern age. Yeah, it has been something like bad, but it has also been done good. It's hard to tell. Thick treatises on a variety of Animancy and the related topics clutter the desk. Let's go to the rooftop to see whom we may find there. We'll not get into something. Just stay cool for it for now. Because we just want to get an overview first. That's the roleplay reason. The gameplay reason is that we have a lot of quests here that are over the top of our heads, right? Even if they are like this. With a lot of skulls, and it's not advisable to go for the quests with a lot of skulls when you're playing Path of the Damned, usually. So let's see. Look, we have guests. Yeah, you have guests.
Burned. Well, that won't do it all.
There's a couple of people here. Sparks come up here often. Hum of the machine dips into a lower tone when someone stands within arm's reach. What do we have here? Oh. Luminous Ardra dust. Very nice. Now, who is that? A steady white-haired elf frowns down at a table covered in coiled copper wires and glimmering shards of Hydra. Her gloved hands smooth her well-tailored Valiant coat as she mumbles under her breath, apparently absorbed in her work. The Animancer doesn't acknowledge your presence. Excuse me? The woman spins on you, blinking rapidly behind a pair of brass-rimmed spectacles. Her bright, carmine eyes and paper-white skin mark her as one of the Glam family.
Hello. My apologies. I didn't see you there.
Her Adonan bears a clear, crisp, but difficult-to-place accent. The pale elf examines you warily, unease clear in the set of her shoulders. Are you alright?
I am fine. Is there some reason I shouldn't be?
One of her pale eyebrows arcs as she tugs at her gloves and looks away from you. Calm settles about her like a burial shroud.
Which is not to say I do not appreciate your concern. I do.
She settles her spectacles on her nose. As she does so, you notice her hands shaking.
I, like the other scholars here, am engaged in the study of the soul sciences. Was there something you needed, or may I return to my studies?
Her thin lips settle into a crooked smile. As she speaks, a drop of blood rolls out of the elf's nose and drips onto her lips. She pulls a handkerchief from her coat pocket and wipes away the blood without a word. You're bleeding.
Indeed. I apologize if you find the sight of blood unsettling. Though, from your appearance, I would expect you to be well acquainted with it.
Indeed.
In any case, why are you here?
How did you come to be in Neketaka?
It is a mundane story. I sought out the ship with the longest oversea route departing from the Republics and booked passage.
So you wanted to get away from something, like all people in the Deadfire, it seems.
I had intended to perform a handful of experiments regarding the nature of souls that could only be done safely at sea.
Ah, okay. I know of no animancy that must be done strictly at sea, says our metaphysics.
A fellow researcher. Then perhaps you will understand.
She steeples her fingers and gives you a sly smile. I'm not going to like where this is going, am I?
I've long been fascinated by the nature of entropy. Nothing is unaffected by the passage of time, excepting souls. Supposedly.
She smirks.
Is it not possible that repeated reincarnation damages a soul? Could the process of reincarnation itself be responsible for some of the many ills that plague the souls of Kith? I deduced that it was possible to escape the cycle. Escape Berath's grasp. To remove one's soul from the wheel.
I'm afraid that went right over my head.
I suppose I was wrong to expect more from you.
Stop dancing around my questions. Tell me what's going on. She heaves a great sigh and straightens her cravat, though.
If you insist.
She takes a step back at your sudden request and clears her throat.
With the aid of a device of copper and Audra, I have uncoupled my soul from my body, freeing myself of Berath's wheel. I belong only to myself now.
Oh, pride girds her voice. I commend your dedication to your craft.
You do?
She shakes her head, brows drawn.
Perhaps you would be amenable to me traveling with you. On something of a permanent basis?
She cringes. What can you do for me?
This blade is not merely for show.
Fingers grace the basket hilt of the rapier slung at her side.
There are no end of swordsmen in the Deadfire, though, right? I, however, possess some little sway over the minds of others.
She grins wolfishly. Why do you want to travel with
I
me?
have a vested interest in luminous Audra, but acquiring it here can be expensive. You have a ship of your own and are clearly well-traveled. I suspect I would encounter more luminous Audra with you than I would on the streets of Neketaka.
Welcome aboard. Everyone has his own reasons.
Truly?
She blinks, her mouth hanging half open.
Thaklat, traveler. I am grateful.
She clasps your hand in hers, pumps it quickly and releases. After a quick pat down of the various pockets sewn into her coat, Edwin nods sharply and rests a hand on the hilt of her rapier.
I have all that I need. We may depart at your leisure.
Her lips curl into a coy little smile and she says no more. A mind stalker. That's interesting. And now, to this woman. Command came tear to her agitated pacing. Flawn Elette gives off an air of restrained chaos. She waves you over with a few quick motions.
You're early. I'm sorry, but we aren't ready to look into your condition yet. You can have a seat over there. Hope you don't mind heights or birch.
She narrows her eyes on you.
You aren't one of our patients. Ah, Madiko, you that watcher. Sentere, I'm sorry. It's been a busy time here. You don't mind if I talk and work, do you? What can I do for you?
She turns away to scroll a quick note. You work here?
Not the coziest place for it, is it? But the open air, the lightning specifically, is a boon. Lets our mages have a rest now and then. Good test of the equipment too. We're working on making it less delicate. Our junior researchers are still a little soft.
She loves. What are you working on?
Glad you asked, amico. Very glad. We're very excited about the work here, and we are always looking for volunteers. We've catalogued a number of interesting properties unique to luminous Audra. But there are some very specific qualities we are investigating. Qualities that a watcher happens to be uniquely suited to exploring. You're just what we're missing.
Is it dangerous?
No. Well, yes, what isn't? But not exceptionally dangerous. Luminous Audra has special effects upon Kith. Even to the humblest, it offers some small improvements. Rejuvenation, vitality, the kind of thing you sell to people back home, ne? But what about those who have already harnessed their own essence? Consider the talented cutpurse, for instance, who can cross a room by slipping briefly into another place. The world between. Luminous Audra holds enormous quantities of essence, the kind of energy we can't replicate or restore. And these formations have a kind of connection to each other across the in-between.
Aha. Is that quantum entanglement or what?
I believe we can harness this connection and your natural abilities to transport a person across great distances in a moment.
Your theory is sound. I've used Ardra to track someone before.
Oh, good. You've done some experimenting on your own. A curious mind is a happy mind, I say. Can't mope about ghosts all day. We've collected a number of illuminating readings, and our machines are ready to harness the Adra's essence. But for the moment, we are effectively blind when it comes to targeting the next pillar. Now, if someone were capable of sensing that essence in the in-between, even of manipulating it, someone like a Watcher, for instance.
What would I have to do?
Well, this is a little like describing a muscle I don't have.
Edit thinks for a moment, snapping her fingers as she paces a half step back and forth.
The idea is for you to focus on the next connection point. The machine will use that new link between the Adra veins to create a tether, as well as provide the energy for you to jump effectively. What's really exciting is, so long as you are holding that connection open, your companions can jump alongside you. The next pillar's due east of here, in the middle of a farm. It's not as tall as this one, but you shouldn't have any trouble finding it. Oh, and don't worry. We paid the farmers.
Yeah, that's interesting and all, but we don't... we want to have a look first.
We'll get everything ready for you.
Thank you a lot. Yeah, and that's really something we have to look up, right? Because it will be very dangerous. Probably. So we're just gonna look around a bit and look for...
I'll take care of this.
Berath's temple for now. Just to get a full view of this, and then we want to get to Port Mage back there. There begins a lot of the action again. We just want to make sure, by talking to all people here, that we're not missing anything out in Port Mage. Missing out on anything there, because that would be terrible. To have all this traveling and then forgetting something, that would be not good. Oh, what's in here?
Well,
Some materials. That's cool. There was the Temple of Berath too, right? If I'm not mistaken. Flon Elette. Yeah, that's straightforward. The best smile has Berath, right? Berath has the best smile. Oh, we have the best smile. Oh, we have the best mask for that instance. What's going on here? Acolytes.
I'll take
And corpses. An amulet.
this.
Interesting to note. An amulet of health. That would be good. Good. Well, she doesn't have an amulet yet, so I'll give you the amulet of health. Already paid for itself, that visit. And what is he doing
I'll
there?
have it.
Long incisions along the corpse's stomach and chest provide access to the organs. What else is going on here?
I see.
There's a trap here. Interesting. Each tablet has been painstakingly engraved, recounting myths and parables in the Huana script. What about this man now? What about this? No lockpicks required. An ailing Aumaua priest regards your approach with curiosity. He cuffs into his sleeve, stained with a spatter of silvery flecks. His eyes go large, and he stumbles a step forward. Because we're a godlike and a death godlike.
Berath sends a messenger at long last. Finally? Truly?
He sucks in a sharp breath and doubles over, coughing hard.
Come closer to the altar. Come inside. The temple welcomes all to worship, most especially you. I ask only for no talking. Not until we pay our respects to Berath, to Riku. Let us pray.
Yeah, we'll watch.
Deity of life and death, the endless devourer who encompasses all existence, hear this prayer, this voice chiming. I beseech you, Kohopa and Tangaloa, to ready this shell for sucking. Purify my soul in preparation for the coming of the next cycle. Digest all of my devotion. Swallow my sorrows, even the smallest swell, so I can be spit on the morrow. And Riku, Berath, my god and goddess both, the eels that churn in ceaseless cycle, the new and the next, and...
From life to death to life again, blessed be, and end. Nodding fervently, he accepts your ending to the invocation. He presses his hands over the center of his chest, touching the atom tucked beneath his shirt, and raising his head, he cracks a frail smile.
All right. I will address your inquiries, best as I can. So ask.
What was that about preparing your soul for Shaka?
End of the turn. I'm nearing it. Been working hard, preparing for weeks. You know, to die. But first, I've got to leave guidance for my apprentice, the next in the cycle. Chosen to lead.
He sweeps a hand toward the stone tomes piled across the floor. You're dying?
Been wasting away for months. Can't say it's been easy, dying so soon. I thought about stopping a few times.
Why would you want to die soon?
Maybe you can see. I'm no death godlike. Berath bestowed not one in my generation with a chime. Not the next, neither. A flawed messenger like me can't open the crypts. So my best chance is to die.
So he's killing himself, is that right? Goodness, these people. That's what you think, at least. I mean, we are marked by death, but we don't really approve of this. Tell me about the writing on these tomes.
Liturgies. Instructions for ritual preparations. When and how. Sermons. Some histories, too.
His fingers trail carefully across stone as craggy as his skin.
All of this, it's our knowledge has gleaned through centuries of service. Now, I've got to leave it all behind for the next disciple.
His words catch in his throat, and he curves forward in a spine-racking fit, hacking until he's flush-faced. Fumbling a goatskin flask to his lips, he drinks until minnow silver liquid dribbles over and slicks his chin. Is he drinking quicksilver to kill himself?
Better.
He wheezes, wiping a palm over his
The
chin.
timing's getting tighter. And there is one thing before the end. Something only one touched by Berath can do.
What did you just consume, that liquid?
Drafts mercurial.
That's going to kill you. He shakes his head.
Getting my heart cut out's going to kill me. When the time's right.
Berath and I have a history.
I know you do.
He tugs at a chain about his neck.
My eels. My infinity coil keeps rattling. Pendants resonating with your chime.
Priest presses the palm of his hand to the front of his chest. He stares, scrutinizing your face. Shakes his head disappointed.
Coil resonates, but it's weak. You could unseal the way. But you'd die inside, I think. My chance would be lost then. Lost with your remains. Not just anyone can escape the hanging sepulchres. Alive.
Oh. We'll stare him down. The silence stretches Kazu's size warily. He wavers on his feet. He releases his grip on the pendant with a feeble nod.
I'd best not let this chance pass. There's a sacred text. The eulogy to Stair. It's been buried in the catacombs beneath the temple for centuries, next to his champions. I need it. Of course, the tombs, they only open to the dead, or those bearing Berath's chime.
Why do you need Stair's eulogy?
It never was added to the tomes, but it holds the final clues for my death. It's my best chance.
You'll die from that liquid metal you're drinking.
I prayed for decades, night to day and night again. Now, here you are, just in time. Means Berath sent you to see to my success.
I have some questions about this Stair and the catacombs beneath his temple.
I'll tell you what I can.
The story with Stair.
He's no Juana, nor a death godlike neither, but he was a high priest of Berath. His hair was a Diran, a hunter, chasing the undead 200 years ago. Read somewhere, one tome, he sailed to the Deadfire for a weapon, abhorrent to Berath. Said the blade held a power most fearful.
Priest's face flushes with fervency. His voice rises in volume as he speaks until his breath catches, and he doubles over into a hacking fit.
Stair fought hard for it, won the blade, but suffered grievous wounds. Berath kept him alive till he could make it to the temple's catacombs. His champions were the ones who wrote his eulogy. Later, they were buried in the sepulchres too.
And is that a dragon skull here? Probably. What about these hanging sepulchres?
They're from the long-forgotten time, when there was only Juana living in the mountain. They got carved in even before the temple sprung up. Before there was Neketaka or a queen. They're well guarded, because not all of Berath's dead like the rest in their graves.
How do I enter the catacombs under the temple?
You've got to go outside, on the lower walkway. Doors sealed up tight, though. Priests before me, all death godlikes, could open it. Door requires a coil, resonating with Berath's chime. But I haven't met a death godlike in my time. Not till you.
The priest bobs his head. From beneath his shirt he untucks a stone-carved circlet. In the image of an eel, the pendant vibrates on the length of its chain, thrumming harder the closer he holds it to you. The eel's coil. An infinity coil on a long chain depicting two eels, each consuming the other. This pendant, and resonating with a Berathian chime, can open the gate to the hanging sepulchres.
You're my best chance. Or only, maybe. Take the coil. It'll open the crypts. Bring me Stair's eulogy, and I'll teach you all I know of Berath's arcana.
All right, whatever that is. I mean, drinking mercurial certainly is not something we want to know more about. I've heard enough for now.
All right. I will address your inquiries best as I can. So ask.
Impressive altar. What else can this temple boast?
Under the temple, carved in the mountain's caverns, lies an extraordinary maze of catacombs. So I've read. They're the hanging sepulchres, burial place for ancient Wana chieftains. The bodies are protected by Berath's best. Roaming, always. Plus, the ways sealed by the deity itself.
So they are undead in the catacombs, is
The
that
dead,
right?
with their souls, they roam still. The ones who were chosen by Berath. Not everyone's born so blessed. Sometimes, instead, you've got to die for it.
And this is a temple to Berath, right? So who's Rikuhu, Kohopa, and Tangaloa? These two eels and... the twin eel god.
The same. Your word, Berath. Our word, Rikuhu. We worship the twin eel. The cyclic connection of the overworld and the underworld. Life and death.
And seeing our experience, we wonder if we will meet an eel one day.
Life is Kohopa, and Tangaloa is death. Born starving, they devoured all living things, swelling larger each. When they'd swallowed all of existence, they tried to eat each other next. Now all things pass through their entrails. The end of one enters the mouth of the next, from the underworld to the overworld and back. Again and again.
And again, farewell. Thank you, thank you. I think it has been a long and interesting while, but a long while listening to you. And we will meet each other in the next episode when we explore the rest of Neketaka, probably the Gullet. And the Brass Citadel a little bit further. So have a great time until then, and happy gaming. This is Immanuel Khan signing out. See you soon, my friends, and happy gaming.